Come on, Jack.
On the third list of Remedy games comes Quantum Break. Truly one of the most fascinating and weird games from Remedy yet, and almost underrated despite how big it was at the time. And despite that, Remedy can't own it because after American Nightmare, Remedy wanted to make a proper Alan Wake sequel, but with the series not selling as well, Microsoft hoped. They said to them, hey, work on something else entirely. Microsoft at the time was entertaining the idea of a live action show intertwined with gaming elements, since the Xbox One was all about
TV.
You get the point. Eventually, they pitched the idea to Remedy, who loved it. Remedy came back with the idea of using time travel, and the rest is history. The video game portion was developed internally by Remedy and directed by studio veteran Sam Lake. The TV side of the game was produced in collaboration with Live Pro Productions and directed by Ben Katai. When the game had a release, it had become the UK's best-selling box game on April 11, 2016. But after the game had come out, after 2 weeks let's say, it's as if no one talks about it or even knows of its existence, ironic given the game's nature. The story of Quantum Break involves time travel, and that can be very complicated, but the beauty of Quantum Break is that it is not, and is perhaps one of the better mediums to show how time travel works. Quantum Break uses the closed loop theory, where as in everything you do is something that must be done. Here's a little clip from Red vs. Blue that explains it a bit better.
Sarge, Simmons, have you guys done anything that can't happen?
I don't think so.
Movies deal with the issue of paradoxes a few different ways. Most films deal with the problem by creating a closed loop. Like Leggett, like Primer, like Kyle Reese impregnating Sarah Connor, maybe like Sarge telling himself to stab Achilles in the foot. Everything that you do in the past is part of the same timeline. This sort of travel makes the most logical sense, but there are really troubling free will issues. The other type of time travel is the alternate reality theory. According to that, when you travel through time, you're actually creating another reality or universe, like in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek reboot. This method deals with the paradox problem by ignoring it. It also implies that a time machine can create all the matter and energy of a new universe, so yeah, no freaking way! Last and least is the flexible timeline. Marty McFly goes back in time and stops his parents from meeting. He undoes his own existence, the ultimate paradox. But he doesn't just vanish. Instead, he's got this weird buffer period to fix it. Why or how this buffer period exists? Yeah, no explanation. It shouldn't. Which brings us back to Type 1, the closed loop.
With that out of the way, the story is you are Jack Joyce, who is played by Shawn Ashmore. I don't really know much about him other than being an X-Men who was Iceman, but after receiving a message from friend Paul Serene, played by Aidan Gillian, Game of Thrones as Littlefinger, you're told that your brother needs help. After a failed experiment had gone wrong, you find that your brother had been working on a machine that could invent time travel. When getting to the machine to work again, Paul goes into the machine, and as he's about to, another Paul walks through. Paul then wants to do another experiment, but as he enters the machine for another test, in the midst of doing so, Jack's brother, played by Dominic McCanningham, who I don't really know much about, tells Jack to stop the experiment, but as Paul enters the machine, it starts malfunctioning. Jack tries to reach him, but as he does, time stops. Jack goes to check on Will, and as he does, Monarch, a mysterious military organization, starts blasting the place. Jack, continuing to get Paul out, fails. Paul assures him that he'll find Jack again sometime in the future, but in an ironic twist, he did find him, as the person who sent the army was Paul himself, but one from the future, a future he claims is at his end of life, and he's here to save this timeline. Paul manages to capture Jack's brother, who wanted this to be prevented, but is then killed, as apparently he's the one who could stop Paul in this timeline. Jack, seeing his brother crushed, is set on a path of revenge, but as he does, he comes across a woman named Beth Wilder, who apparently knew all of this would happen, and she insists that the past can't change, only the future. And you might be wondering, what's her story? Who is she? Why is she helping us? That's all answered in a very roundabout way, but that's the synopsis. The concept is so cool and incredibly sick, but I find that Remedy's writing is such a downer. I would hope that they will lean into that happy-go-lucky story that then turns dark the further you get in. I find that would have helped the story a lot. Time travel can be a fun concept when done right, and it can go incredibly dark quickly. Hence Steins Gate, Madoka Magic, Chrono Trigger, Prince of Persia, although after Sands of Time it gets really weird. But moreover, the story being dark would have been fine if the supporting cast was good. Like in The Last of Us or Bioshock Infinite, while the subject matter can get dark and gruesome, both Ellie and Elizabeth show that there's still a ray of hope. Although again in Last of Us 2 is really bad. Yikes. Anyway, Quantum Break is overly melodramatic with no fun bits to it. There are no interesting characters. Often throughout my playthrough, I completely forgot what any of the characters are named. Heck, most of the time when someone I recognize shows up, like, it's Lance Reddick. Oh man, Lance Reddick is great, but I don't remember his character's name. One of the only times when something interesting does occur is in a period of the game that isn't playable, and it isn't Jack. I wish the game had a different main character. Jack's not funny, he's not charismatic. He's essentially a plot device that gets to be the main character. Beth, in comparison, is far more interesting. She has an arc and one that is harrowing, and she's part of the Paul squad, but has so much on the line by risking her life for hours. Paul Serene sucks, but he also is far more interesting than Jack. He's also a nothing burger. He keeps repeating that he's the savior of this timeline, but he's irresponsible, and I would have hoped he would have had more persuasive moments if he knew the horrors to come. Speak to us, let us experience the bleak world he's seen. Instead, the game has a hard-on for telling us how bad it is, rather than showing us how bad it's gonna get. And again, the only character I enjoyed was Lance Reddick. His character is evil, he's playing both sides for his own benefit. But what are his needs and goals? I have no idea. There are a bunch of articles and emails that you can read, but why should I care? The game doesn't ever warrant my time or its own effort to make me care. Heck, after one mission, you have this huge, giant piece of text that you can read. Why will anyone read that? There's nothing interesting that's happening right now. Sure, it's going to develop the world, but who cares at this stage? You need to do it very slightly. But otherwise, too much text, too much lore. If you want to read into it, cool. And it does connect into Control, I believe. But regardless, moving on. But as Microsoft marketed this game, it's not only a game, but a show too. And it has slight replay value. Oh my god. So before any episode, you'll play as Paul, where he has to make a choice. That choice then gets to affect the game and the show slightly. It's really cool, only it's incredibly minimal. I like the choices, but they prove to not be worth it when 99% of everything you do is the exact same and don't always make sense. There's clearly a set path on how certain scenes take place from the narrative, so it doesn't make any sense that you even get a choice in the first place. Take this boat scene. In my original playthrough, I had chosen to have Paul kill the university students.
See those two men on either side of you? Well, I'm going to stand. I'm going to leave. And the one on your right is going to shoot you in the head.
Fuck you. Wait!
And in my other, I had him spare them. And later in the game, that scene can go two ways. On the bridge, either the soldiers will kill everyone, killing mass panic and havoc, with a ship crashing into the bridge, creating even more chaos. That makes sense. In the other, the soldiers will be setting up mass propaganda against Jack. But that same boat scene plays out. Why? And going back to that Red vs. Blue clip is gonna further into my point.
kind of time travel, but also the most terrifying.
What did you mean about free will?
Well, in a closed loop, you don't really choose what you do. You have to do what you did. What you will do, you have to do. You can't do anything that you won't do. You know what I mean?
Not even in the slightest.
Well, basically, it means we're not in control over our own lives. Anything you're gonna do with the time machine, you're gonna do. You don't get to choose.
We're getting into philosophy now.
You're saying everything is preordained? Like, by a god?
No way! No higher power controls my destiny!
Oh! We can find out! Right now. We can run a test on free will.
What sort of test?
Okay, here's the idea. Sarge, after this meeting, I want you to choose whether or not you want to use your time machine to hide inside this storage closet. Your choice.
Okay, I'm gonna do it.
Nope, don't say it out loud.
Okay, I'm not gonna do it.
Don't tell me your choice. Just do it after the meeting.
So I'm doing it? Make up your mind
okay.
already.
Think it to yourself and
right.
then do the
I'm
thing
thinking to
afterwards.
myself, I will hide in the storage closet.
Nope, just think it.
Am I doing it or not?
Not out loud.
I'm gonna ace this test.
Right. So right now, one of us is gonna open this door. Now, if time-traveling Sarge is on the other side, he has to go back. If he isn't on the other side, then he can't go back. So
It's like Schrodinger's cat.
kinda.
So this test is going to prove or disprove the very existence of free will.
Yup. So, who wants to open that door?
No fucking way.
No, thank you.
Hell no!
Well, I'm not doing it.
I'm not afraid.
Well,
I'm doing it! I'm doing it! Fuck it. Here we go.
hello.
The game is all about Jack trying to fix the past, but slowly realizing he's in a closed loop. But the show should have gone into philosophy, questioning the nature of time travel, rather than introducing new characters who have their own plot and goals, which in an ironic twist is more engaging than the game's characters. But the show doesn't have an end goal, it's just for exposition and to further explore the world. I don't remember anything about the show outside of a CW looking ass camera work and acting. I honestly do love it for how bad it is.
Thank you. Shut up. Back up slowly. Yeah.
What? Huh? What? Huh? What? What? No! 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 You don't! No! No! You don't! No! What the actual shit? What the actual shit was that? What the what? Huh? Huh? How go back? Go back. You go back right now. You go back right now. You go back right now. Explain to me how this makes sense. He turns around. He kicks this chair. He kicks this chair directly at the guy for him to go whoop, and then what? Then he goes and kicks him in the stomach. One kick to the stomach. He's laid down. Then he knees him in the face, and then he's just knocked out. What? But he's still handcuffed. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's so bad. It's so bad. But here's the real problem. The main three actors, Aidan Gilligan, Lance Reddick, and Shawn Ashmore, have to be paid a lot more than the game counterparts, which doesn't help when there's already little to no budget. So the show only has them in extremely limited scenes. Maybe if Remedy decided to hire people who weren't so A-class, then they could have used that budget to help them in further projects. And maybe the show could have continued, spanning outside of the game. Regardless, what I find so interesting is that American Nightmare paved the way for what Remedy will start doing and will be best known for. So, in another twist, it was Microsoft who paved the way to who they're best known for today. And the show isn't stored in your drive, instead it's streamed. So you could be disconnected mid-episode. Thanks, streaming. But by far the worst sin Remedy committed, and you really shouldn't be worrying about this, but slightly big spoiler is how the story doesn't end. Instead, it ends on a cliffhanger, and for whatever reason, Remedy didn't learn the lesson with Alan Wake. Let the story end. We don't need a bait and switch for a sequel, and for people who really love the story, you just did them a disservice. The story for me is getting a 3 out of 10. It's not fun, it's overly melodramatic with choices that result in no results, which could be a statement for the closed loop theory, but is done in such a bad way and the story goes nowhere. The gameplay, on the other hand, is incredibly fun. Taking the lessons from Alan Wake and American Nightmare, Quantum Break is without a doubt an action game with powers. And what I thoroughly enjoyed about the powers is how after every chapter you gain new powers. So you're always feeling like you're evolving. Only downside, the powers can be a mixed bag, where some are better than others and the gameplay doesn't utilize them in any interesting way. Sure, you have powers to run in slow-mo or to energy blast people away, but to make them flow in combat, well, that's another story. The gameplay wants to be two things at once and can't figure out where it lands. On one hand, you're meant to go around and taking down enemies with little to no cover, but because of how bad Jake's health is and how bad bullet spongy enemies can be, often I'll find myself running away for cover and there isn't a way to speed up health or to improve the weapons. And it'll be something if the enemies were slight bullet sponges, but the enemies in white can take up to 2 clips of ammo while also being able to zip zap around you like f***ing Sonic the Hedgehog. And despite having all these powers, the combat doesn't flow at all. At least I never managed to. There's so many object collisions and the time powers feel underutilized. When I take someone out with slow-mo, I should regain my power, let me do a triple takedown. And if the game had parkour, that would have made the combat even better, as using your environments would have made a very big selling point. But more importantly, it would have made the combat even more fun. You can always upgrade your powers, but it sucks. You have to explore the small area you're in while the game is telling you to hurry up to continue the story. All the while, the upgrades are missable because it blends into the world, with them being white glowing bits amongst all the other white glowing bits. What the game succeeds in is how you're constantly moving. You're never in one location for too long, and I enjoyed every location you go through. It really does feel like the story progresses over the course of the game, and seeing how mangled the world becomes is fun and just incredible. The game is a visual masterpiece. There are scenes here that blow away other games of today. The direction and how they're presented is incredible. Like the scene where the world is moving all around you is a sight to behold, and the way it's told is stuff that isn't shown by anyone else in the industry. But one thing that the industry has improved on today is the music. The music in Quantum Break is very basic. It's going for a, we are very cinematic, so take our music serious. Think about the actors and the script, because those are big selling points. Instead, all the good music is licensed, and I found this a problem with Alan Wake. The original music outside of one track sucks, but in Alan Wake I could forgive it as it's meant to be spooky. So okay, but this is an action game. Go ham! And with that, I don't know how much more I'm going to talk about Quantum Break. I'm going to give the gameplay a solid 6 out of 10. It's a solid game that more people should get to experience. It's truly the black sheep of Remedy, and unfortunately, thanks to Microsoft holding the IP, they can't expand on it. I imagine if there was a Quantum Break 2, it would be insane. With how much Remedy has learned over the years, and knowing that this game was only made by 100 people? That's crazy! How is this game made by 100 people only? With a backing of Microsoft as well? Bro, this team is absolutely madmen. The only downside is they do need better music. But like, slight spoiler, I hated Control. I know I played it, that was like my first real Remedy game. I did play Max Payne 1 and 2 a long time ago, but my real first Remedy game was Control, and I remember just disliking it. I'll retry it as it is, but if I really do dislike it, it's gonna get the mod treatment. I'm gonna download a mod because goddamn, I remember how bored I was with that game. Alright, take care and see ya.